Good evening, everyone. The Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry, along with Maulana Abul Kalam Azad, University of Technology in West Bengal, welcome you to the webinar, Education for Doing Business. Today, we have an esteemed group of panelists who are stalwarts of the industry. Before we move on to the main event, first, we are just going to give a very quick tech briefing. For the ease of listening to the esteemed panelists, we have muted all participants except the speakers. We would request all of you to kindly keep your videos off for better connectivity. Also, if you wish to ask any questions to our esteemed panelists, kindly write your questions in the chat box along with the speaker who you wish to ask the question to. Thank you very much. Now, Dr. Bose, the chairman of the Education Committee of Bengal Chamber of Commerce and Industry and Chief Mentor, International Institute of Hotel Management, will take it forward. But before that, we will see a small video for the introduction of Dr. Bose. Thank you.
We are privileged to have amongst us iconic hospitality educationalist Dr. Suparno Bose, Chairman Educational Committee BCC&I, founder IndySmart Group. His institution, International Institute of Hotel Management, IIHM, is hailed as one of the best hotel schools in the world. He is the brain behind Young Chef India Schools and the Young Chef Olympiad series that promote young culinary talent around the country and world. He is the founder and CEO of the International Hospitality Council and initiated International Hospitality Day, celebrated every year on the 24th of April. Dr. Bose has received many prestigious awards, including ET Now Business Leader of the Year award. Dr. Bose will be moderating the online panel discussion on education for doing business.
I have got with me four stalwarts in the field of business, enterprise, and education. And I'd like to first of all introduce one of them. First of all, I'll introduce Soikat Moitro, the Vice Chancellor of the Macau. And in fact, this particular webinar is a brainchild of Professor Moitro. He only gave this idea to all of us that we should do this, especially in Bengal, where we should foster more of entrepreneurship. But before that, I like to have a small introduction of Professor Soikat Moitro. Can we have the AV, please?
We are privileged to have amongst us academician, prolific speaker, and dynamic educational administrator, Professor Soikat Moitro, Vice Chancellor, McCourt, West Bengal, who is an eminent speaker on the online panel discussion on education for doing business.
Thank you. So next in a panel is none other than Mr. Anjan Chatterjee. Mr. Chatterjee is absolutely, you can say, son of the soil, a person who symbolizes entrepreneurship coming from Bengal and Orissa to some extent as well, and made India his empire. So a brief intro about Mr. Anjan Chatterjee. AV, please.
We are privileged to have amongst us Mr. Anjan Chatterjee, founder, chairman, and managing director, Specialty Restaurants Limited. A self-proclaimed foodie by birth, his entrepreneurial instincts led to the creation of his first restaurant brand in 1992 in Mumbai. He went on to create the first authentic Chinese restaurant, Mainland China, in 1996 before taking the brand to pan-India level. Currently, he has over 192 outlets in over 25 cities in India, Bangladesh, Tanzania, Qatar, Sri Lanka, and UAE. Mr. Anjan Chatterjee is an eminent speaker of the online panel discussion on education for doing business.
The next in a panel is the one and only Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh, who has become idol for a million of Bengalis, including me, who actually is a story which can be told to the youngsters. So more of that later, but before that, we'll see a very small intro about this big man, Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh. AV, please.
It is a privilege to have amongst us Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh, founder, managing director, and chief executive officer of Bandhan Bank. He is the Business Standard Banker of the Year for 2018 and 2019. Mr. Ghosh is an eminent speaker of the online panel discussion on education for doing business.
And last but of course not the least is Paul Walsh, career diplomat who left the job to do something very different. Paul Walsh is one of those faces which is very recognizable in Calcutta and Bengal. Can we have a small intro, Evie, of Paul Walsh, please?
We are privileged to have amongst us Mr. Paul Walsh, MBE, Managing Trustee and Founder, Jungle Cruise. He served as the Deputy Head of Mission at the British Deputy High Commission, Kolkata, from November 2002 to December 2005. Mr. Walsh is an eminent speaker of the online panel discussion on education for doing business.
So there we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are on in time to start off this very interesting webinar panel discussion on education on doing business. And I think this is very important for all of us, especially in Bengal. And we need lot of entrepreneurship in Bengal. Of course, I feel that my definition of an entrepreneur is a person who starts a business and is willing to risk loss in order to make money. So a person who starts a business and is willing to also risk loss to make money. So I think business, loss, money are the keywords for any entrepreneurs, and I'm sure that all my entrepreneur friends will agree that these three are the ingredient for that great recipe called entrepreneur. So I'll straight away go to Professor Shoikat Moitro, Vice Chancellor Macau, and a person who is always encouraging his students and everyone to come for entrepreneurship rather than coming for a traditional job. Professor Moitro, can we have you to start your deliberation and how your university and the Indian education system can change their gears so that we can encourage more of entrepreneurs to come up, and more especially in the state of West Bengal. Professor Moitro, please. Unmute, please, sir. So you need to unmute, please. Yeah, no, please. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Good evening to all of my co-panelists, Dr. Bose, Sri Chandrasekhar Ghosh, Mr. Ranjan Chatterjee, Mr. Paul Walsh. I'd like to give deliberation on first the impact which has happened and which is going to happen on business, and how education needs to be realigned with the requirement of the business of future. Particularly at this juncture, the impact of COVID-19 that on GDP of our country, we are already observing that GDP is drastically falling, and there are different speculation about the recovery of GDP and how it will be recovered. People are talking about the storm will pass. Some people are telling that it will continue for some time. Some people are telling it will continue for a long time. And based on that, there can be different, this resurgence of economy, this bounce of this economy. If this problem, it gets mitigated within a short period, then there will be a sharp, this bouncing back of our economy, because this is a theory of science. If we put any propagating object under pressure, and if we release the pressure, transiently it attains a very high velocity. This is going to happen if this problem is mitigated within a short period of time, reasonable period of time. But if it continues for some more time, then there will be an irregularity, and that the downward strain and upward rising that will assume a complex trend. But the most fearing thing is the matter of most concern is if it continues for a longer period, then people are talking about that it may resemble the Great Depression of 1929. And we know that what happened at the time of Great Depression, millions of people lost their jobs, many of these industries, production units, these units of economic activity closed down, and there are lots of problems across the world. But the silver line is the predicted value of India's GDP is above than the predicted value of world's GDP in near future. If you look at the speculation of all these, there's consulting houses, Indian economy that at most worst case it will be more than 2, but world economy that will be someone is telling it may go below the negative axis also. So in that sense, India is slightly in a better position. And if we look at this nature of business, first recovery in the areas of business which is going to happen, the business which deals with fear products like hospital, pharma sectors, insurance, food supplements, healthcare products, and then different types of home exercise products. These are going to get a boost. And secondly, all business with E factors, e-commerce, e-marketing, e-learning, e-meeting, e-entertainment, e-security, e-automation, e-wallet, e-content, many all these business with these e-factors that will be dominating. And there is also for FMCG products, essential products like food products, beverage, dairy products, the market will be there. There will be not a single problem with this FMCG essential as well as non-essential sectors, particularly toiletries, cleaning products, laundry products belonging to non-essential sectors. And for essential sectors, the food products and beverages, the dairy products, all these things, the market will be always there. Now, what was going to happen in the recent, time, industry was migrating to shifting to a definite pattern. That is industry 4.0. And the 4.0 industry is basically having the feature of automation, analytics, and remote working process. Particularly this remote working process part and e-automation part that has been accelerated by this pandemic scenario. Now, keeping in line with this industrial requirement, we are observing in the last few years, there was a changing scenario in the requirement of manpower in the industrial sectors. And that was because this education, it was taking time to keep it aligned with industrial requirement. Education was also evolving, and it was speculated that by 2025, education 4.0 would have been emerged. And that is basically cloud-based learning. Cloud-based learning, it is digital learning, flip learning, collaborative learning, experiential learning, different features of learning was emerging. And that process would have been completed had this pandemic scenario not arrived by 2025. There was other features also. Learning at your own place, learning at your own pace, lifelong learning, and learning, unlearning, relearning. Because of the rapid redundancy of this knowledge and skill requirement, this was the feature of our education sectors in the recent past that has been accelerated, and that gap has been widened by this pandemic scenario. In pedagogy, teaching learning skill, The speculation was there always, the computer knowledge or coding, that will be essential for each and every discipline, each and every subjects, irrespective of your subjects. Besides your communication skills, you have to be proficient with your computer skill. And then online courses, online classes. Government of India initiated SWAYAM. Similarly, there are other international platforms, Coursera, edX, Udemy. This has been massively penetrating the education market, and this is the time to reap the benefit of these online education systems. The scenario of India was, even 6 months, 1 year before, the response of taking this education from online platform was lukewarm. But now we do not have any other option. It has become a compulsion. And we have to integrate this online education platform with our traditional education platform in the form of blended form of learning. And virtual labs, remote lab, these are becoming a necessity now. Earlier, when these were developed, Government of India developed virtual lab, and a lot of money was spent at that project, I know personally. And the remote labs, they are, the taker for all these things were very low. But now, these virtual labs, remote labs for all disciplines, all features, that are becoming a hard-pressed requirement. For subjects, if we look at the nature of subjects, which will be of high requirement, if this situation continues for longer time, and if the situation doesn't continue also. Medical science, pharmaceutical technology and allied areas, these were getting a boom, and this will be, of high demand. IT related courses like cloud technology, cyber security, artificial intelligence, cloud technology, because everything will be based on cloud. All these e-business, e-activities, that will be based on cloud. And when it will be at cloud, when it will be at hosted clouds, then data needs to be secure. That cyber security is going to, it was there an important area, and its importance will increase. Artificial intelligence for doing all these things, that the importance of artificial intelligence will increase. Blockchain and cryptocurrency. Now, the importance of cryptocurrency will increase. And consequent to that, the importance of blockchain. Internet of Things, for this remotely, operating systems, Internet of Things, that will be of huge demand. Data science, image processing, signal analysis, these will be going up top demand. And for other courses, as social distance or physical distance, whatever it is, if it prevails, then there will be a massive intervention of robotics in our life. So demand of robotics will increase. 3D printing, where people requirement is less, where labor requirement is very low. Additive manufacturing, 3D printing, that will be of immense importance. Media science, particularly animation, multimedia, augmented reality, virtual reality, these will be very, very important. And if we look at management program, hospital management, healthcare management, digital marketing, e-commerce, supply chain management, environmental management, business analytics, these will be of demand. So this, for the students and for our entire educational program, we need to put a lot of trust on this area, which will be of requirement in line with the social scenario prevailing in the entire world right now. Now the most important part is, there are other areas also, agriculture and allied areas. Right now, this is the time of employing less number of farmers for making agricultural production. That's why precision agriculture or smart farming, which was not that much popular in Indian context, that will be of importance in near future. Vertical farming, food technology, food processing, all these things. Now, keeping all this in view, the most important thing is, now the situation is like that, we need to generate a large number of job givers instead of job seekers, because employment scenario or employment capacity is not that much existing. Therefore, we have to give a lot of trust on micro and small knowledge-based entrepreneurship. And most importantly, this should be home-based, entrepreneurship based on local products. because this migration and mobility of the people will be restricted to a significant extent, and international policies, international relationship, import, this ease of import of products, raw materials, all these things that is going to be affected, and therefore entrepreneurship based on local products, that will be of importance now. Entrepreneurship based on this knowledge and home based, where this something like what happened in Japan after this world war. This electronics became a this home based industry there. So that type of situation can emerge in India, considering the fact India is very rich in biodiversity, in different sorts of resources, in human resources. So there is no doubt of it. Only thing, now we have to change the mindset. We have to align ourselves in that direction, and we have to change all these things in line with this economic activity. Earlier, the relationship between academics and all this economic activity, that was this weakly related. Now it needs a strong relationship, because everything will be based on knowledge. Everything will be based on this knowledge coupled with experience and innovation, and that is the this primary requirement of each and every educational institute to promote this culture of entrepreneurships and innovativeness. We here for our university, we have introduced a lot of measurements, like we have integrated these digital education systems with traditional education systems. We have introduced online examination systems, and you'll be happy to note that in the entire country, probably we are the university which is having the largest number of records of taking online classes, online assessment in this last 2 months lockdown period. And there, another important thing is this time we have given a lot of emphasis on entrepreneurships, offering special grade to the students who will be taking up entrepreneurship in the form of special honors, in the form of their academic, this achievement further. So these are some of the steps we are taking. We are creating an ecosystem where the startup entrepreneurship should be promoted and encouraged inside the campus to a significant extent, sometimes something which is happening at US universities and other European universities. That culture we want to inculcate here, and to in that direction we are working hard. We have for our university systems, we have introduced our entrepreneurship cell, dedicated entrepreneurship cells, and we are inviting for projects, formidable projects for different budding entrepreneurs, and to get it a boost, to get it a thrust further. And these are some of these exercise and activities we have taken up, and this is the time for building up a massive cooperation and networking. And in that directions, our academic institutes, universities and institutes, we are looking forward to establish a strategic relationships with the Chamber of Commerce, with the professional bodies, with different consultants, and development of these ecosystems and ecology. That will be the key words for our survival, because that will make our this existence sustainable. So with that, these are the same some things we are doing, and if there is questions I can answer, but there are lots of things we have introduced, but this is not the time to tell all these things in detail. But in summarize from whatever we are doing in the changing context of this industry and social systems in our university, that I tried to highlight. And with this, I'd like to conclude. Thank you, Dr. Bose, for giving me a chance for expressing my views here.
Thank you very much, Professor Moito. That was very comprehensive. Well, I've got a small question. I mean, obviously, we are talking at the university sector, but then we always feel that the most important education for any student and young adult is the school education. And it is really a school where we lay the foundation for the young people. And we have seen in some part of India itself, there has been a lot of emphasis on certain things which are taught in the school, application of some entrepreneurship. So what do you think about it? I mean, should we not introduce certain basic subject in school instead of too much of importance on physics and mathematics and history? Maybe something like a basic of stock market, somebody like possibly the venture capital financing, things like that?
No, that is exactly the government of India recently they announced that particularly the school curriculum they are going to redraft, giving more this importance on skill development and this skill training, entrepreneurship, and all these aspects. So that maybe by near future that will happen, because this year this national education policy was going to be implemented. Because of this pandemic scenario, probably it needs to be revisited. And today I was hearing this deliberation by our MHR, the Honorable MHR Minister. He was giving this thought like that, that we need to give a lot of emphasis on this skill development, particularly from the school sector, starting from the school sector. And from there on, this culture of entrepreneurship needs to be inculcated amongst the young mind. That is the reality now. That is the hard-pressed requirement now. And let's see, because this depends on government policies, and if the government policies come in force, then definitely it will happen. And we are here to implement certain things at particular tertiary education level, at higher education levels. Certain things which we can do at our end, we are trying to do, but there are certain things which that requires the consensus of state government, central government, because education in India, it is in concurrence list. And after that, if something emerges out of the school context, we are trying to give some sort of secondary support of all these activities, because we introduced a scheme like encouraging these students to take up certain creative activities, whereby they will be given some rewards and awards for the school students. We have introduced that. But that is all the secondary and tertiary activities, are primarily, it depends on the government policies. And I'm hopeful that that will be done, because everyone is thinking in that direction, how to take this country ahead in terms of economic repositioning. And let us see that that will happen in near future.
Yes, we will come back to you, Professor Moitra. We have got a couple of questions and a couple of very interesting questions. But before that, we'll go to the man, Anjan Chatterjee, the son of soil, who made it big in the food and hospitality industry and made all of us very, very proud. Mr. Chatterjee, you have been one of the person who are really shown. You are an example. You are a role model for thousands of youngsters about how from an ordinary person, you have taken your business to an extraordinary level, not just in India, but in so many places. And now that we are thinking about entrepreneurship as one of the major trust, and we are trying to put it in education, as Professor Moitra has so brilliantly told us. So we'll come back to you, and please tell us about a little bit of your story also, and how this can really inspire a lot of our youngsters in the food and hospitality industry.
Good evening to everybody on the panel, and ladies and gentlemen who are actually a part of this forum and listening to us at this point of time. See, all of you know that we are going through very, very trying times. Now, I cannot start with the pessimism, because the fact that Shoykot Babu has already built a very, very good positive environment in the discussion. So while we can talk about the challenges that we are facing, which is a reality, and then I could only say this to you rather than my humble understanding of the business. There are legends who are sitting here, Chandrasekhar Babu, Shoykot Babu, and of course Suborno Babu. But I could only say this to you that my understanding of entrepreneurship is all about that you need to be enterprising. The basic word entrepreneur comes in from the mother word called enterprise. So when you are working on any kind of a project, or when you have a dream, it is not necessary that you need to have money. A lot of people confuse the fact that if you have money, then only you can start an enterprise. See, enterprise is all about a big idea. Enterprise needs, in today's context, it is a knowledge economy, as Mr. Shoykot said, that it is a knowledge economy in which you need to actually understand the business. In our times, we could not understand so much about the business, because with the kind of limited education of a graduation and then doing a catering school, we were thrown into the system. I worked with Taj Hotels. And then, of course, Anandavajar Putrika. Both the places, we learned a little bit in terms of working environment and the operational side of business. We were not at all taught about anything to do with finances and how to handle money and ensure that you sustain an enterprise. Enterprise is all about not just making money. My understanding would be it is all about your passion. Now, if you don't have a passion about anything that you wish to do, whether you want to be a restaurateur, whether you want to be a banker, you want to be anything in life, so you need to have passion for that subject. And in fact, I have always coined this. In fact, Chandrasekhar Babu also quoted it earlier on in forums, because to be an entrepreneur, you need to have passion, then you need to work very hard. It sounds very easy that, we travel in the best cars in the world, but somebody should go back and understand the kind of hardships and the fact that the kind of sacrifices one has done to reach wherever one is. I'm too small to talk about big things in life, but I understand that it is all about passion, hard work, and then at the end of it, it's discipline, because you need to be disciplined to do anything in life, and definitely entrepreneurship. For example, there are lots of companies who are going bankrupt because of the fact that they did not follow financial discipline. So they did not understand that debt is not the right route. Debt equity is fine, but then, you can see that lots of people have leveraged themselves beyond a particular point, then they can't come back, and there have been fiascos within the, entrepreneurial world. Back to the fact that education, we never learned anything about entrepreneurship. I was also working for both the companies, Taj Group or Anandavajar Putrika, but there was something within me which said, because, food has been my passion. So I said that, fine, why don't we do something beyond doing advertising, and actually started an advertising agency which followed with the food, understanding that, okay, let's go and cook and make a small restaurant, knowing nothing about restauranting except in my catering school and maybe a little bit of, exposure in the advertising business. We said that no. So there was a passion. It was a mom and pop shop. And we started very humbly, called Only Fish, which then became a little serious because many people were coming. And you will see that many of these small shops and stores have started. I'm only talking about food and beverage because I'm a foodpreneur, entrepreneur who sells food or creates an ambience for food. So, so you will see them, they're very enterprising. A lot of people are quitting and leaving their jobs and also come into this kind of a, feeling that, okay, you can do that. But in our times, when I actually got into starting my business, my mother asked me whether I will get a salary or not at the end of the month. So the overall understanding, I come from a middle class family, and there is a lot of insecurity which is built with entrepreneurship. Yes, there is, but there's also insecurity in jobs. So my point would be, if you don't perform, you're out, wherever you are. Now, I'm not saying that I have achieved too much, but there are many, many more people. But one thing is very important, that besides the fact that, you will be having a bank loan, you can get support from everybody, but you need to have that conviction of the business. You need to have that passion which will override anything else. Whether you fall down, you get up, you lose, you gain, in any circumstance, you need to be ensuring that we will go on, get up. It's not that, see, I'm coming here to say that whatever little success one has got is great and I can always pamper myself saying that. But then there are failures. There have been so much of learning. So, but then at that point of time, if you give up, then you are not necessarily looking at an enterprise which is sustainable. And enterprise also needs sacrifice, because as a leader, you are lonely at the top. So you need to not just create an opportunity for yourself, you need to create an opportunity for people who are working with you and for you. So there is a great responsibility. For example, today we are going through a kind of a patch in which we really don't know, because the restauranting business is under threat. The COVID-19 brought a new kind of a culture, because people are scared to go out. They don't know whether things will happen. Death is something which is kissing them. So going to a restaurant becomes challenging. but we are finding to ensure that we do many things like contactless ordering, delivery. We are trying to understand that how can we protect the whole environment. We should not make a restaurant like a hospital, because people, it's a business of happiness. But we are working on many ideas and ensuring that how would we gain the confidence of the consumer so that they understand they're in a safe environment. So it's never happened in the world, definitely not in 100 years, that one has gone through this kind of a crisis. But you need to sit together with your team. You need to, storm and then come out with from that crisis. So what I'm trying to say that we were never taught in our curriculum that there is anything called entrepreneurship. And today there are, of course, IIMs of the world and management schools who are teaching you what to do. But then I think that I would request Shoykot Babu, which he has already said in so many words, that there has to be a kind of, inculcation of the thoughts of entrepreneurship, that once you work, once you pass out from the school and a college, you necessarily don't wish to get into a job. You may learn for a while, what I did in life, and then started my entrepreneurship. So I think that there is an opportunity for everyone. And I think that if people started thinking like this, that I will be on my own, I will be my enterprise head, and one has a vision to do something, I think conviction comes in, and your idea, which I said that business is all about a big idea, how Chandrasekhar Babu started the microfinancing, from then to now, it's history that what he has created. So I'm saying that it all comes in from an idea. From there, you develop that and ensure that you sustain it till the last minute. So, many times we talk about, no, if I try that, that will not happen. I mean, this happens, that happens. But I would like to end it with Sri Harivansh Rai's one small expression, which is in the form of a poem, which is talking about, I'm just telling you a line, Manzil mile na mile, manzil mile na mile, ye to muqaddar ki baat hai. Manzil mile na mile, ye to muqaddar ki baat hai, par hum koshish bhi na kare, ye galat baat hai. So even this environment, we are sitting here, we know the challenges because we know what the future will be. We are trying to get out of that because we are enterprising. We will make sure that we will not leave and run away. Thank you. Thank you very much.
That was wonderful, Anjana. That was very typical Anjan Chatterjee, almost serving that great food in O Calcutta. So yes, I will also come because we have a couple of questions coming in the chat box. But then first of all, we have to go to the entrepreneur of Bengal, the Chandrasekhar Ghosh, who kind of showed us that what exactly you can do with the passion, hard work, and not essentially a lot of money, as Anjanda right now mentioned. So basically, we always feel that entrepreneurs plus capital is equal to product plus customer is equal to business. And that's the kind of equation, I think, right from Amazon's chief to everybody kind of thing. And the key word here is capital. And that's what Mr. Ghosh been doing actually. His microfinance has been such an fantastic idea, concept, and a big success. Execution has been absolutely fantastic because some of ideas are great, but what he did is that it's really execution. So we come back to you, sir, Mr. Ghosh, and past president of Bengal Chamber of Commerce. It's such an honor for me to have you in this panel as a past president of Bengal Chamber. And if we can hear from you a little bit of your story and how you can inspire millions of the millennials in Bengal to become the next Chandrasekhar Ghoshes of Bengal.
Thank you, the Mr. Bose and all of the eminent and the speaker. This is my pleasure that then I get these opportunities to introduce to all of this audience on that. I'll try on that based on that. So very surprised for me when I got the bank license, and the people all over the India, people are surprised. You got the bank license from Calcutta. So they're not believed it on that. The Calcutta can do on that. Then I've been very much surprised on that. Why people are surprised? Is it that the Calcutta or Bengal is not the entrepreneur, the art, and the soul is not in the feet? Very much surprised. And I see that the finding out, if we see that the Dr. Prafullo Chandra Roy, who is the graduate from Edinburgh, no, and he started in a Bengal chemical, and people forget about it. If I say that the Sri Surendra Mohan Bose, who is a duck back, no, he is also from the Stanford. If I say that the Kiran Shankar Rai, who is from Oxford, or Bengal Lamb, if the education is the highest, the biggest institution, they got that the degree and started the enterprise in Bengal. But I am from the grassroots and started one enterprise, and people are saying the surprise, Bengal is not in the entrepreneur mark. So that is a very surprise for all of us in this situation. But I am also give that all of you know that all three institutions are not in a good position. Once upon a time, they are the biggest, they are the lion, but now it is not any position on that. Why? Where is it why this position has come to the Bengal? Or this type of best institution are not not in a bid. So that is the point on that we'll be like to think in the way of the environment and the family, institution, and the next generation of people. All will be like to look in a one way. So what is this? The possible is build up this entrepreneurship. And if you see that can I go to the institution for get a certificate or make myself as a businessman? First, giving on that, if you see that the education institution, the offer on that you will get the job if you come to my institution. That means in the beginning, we are offered. If I have been insured, I will get the job, but fee is high. If I not insured the job, and I have been given that only the entrepreneurship type, they will give the less fee, and family also not like on that. So in that sense, all will be together, will be like to come forward, how we can be build up the next generation people, or our children will be become an entrepreneur. So that is the big thing we can like to do. And every institution have a education institution, and our family, our society, everyone should be like to contribute on that. I given on that some example. What is need to start the business? If you say that India is the best country for build up the entrepreneurship, because 130 crores the population, one product sell 130 product, 130 times he can sell. No any country other than China, this much of the domestic demand. Only point on that, how we are look it on that. How we look it, how we can reach it, and the looking newly, reaching to them is a very hard, then success will come. So that point, when I thinking that the meeting the more people, I can easily understand what is the need of the people. What is the basic need of these people? If I try to identify the basic need of the people, and which I can be make my product or business product, which can be satisfied these people differently from others, that is the success point of the entrepreneur. And it will be like to be. And second point on that, we see that we can be think not in a small. We can think always is a big, because small is beautiful, but a big is necessary for our country. Because of that, until I am not in a scale, the impact will not come. So automatically it will be not help to me and help to my country. So this is an opportunities also. Third point is need always think in innovative. How I can be serve my customer as a differently, which other are not doing on that. I'm coming to, because you are asking to some of my experience on that. If I say that I started in the small one of this business, which is targeted by the money lenders, given the loan in the morning, collect evening, and charge the 200 to 500% interest. I say that if I convert these people in a banking product or financial product by the financial institution, is a big opportunities for us. We can socially can be support on that. Social impact will come, and also the big way business can be developed on that. And when I start on that, then every people criticize me. This is not the business. This is not the business model. Now it is the best business model in the banking industry. Other banks are following us. So that is the way how I can be like to look first in a business, not other people what they are saying. And when I started it, the very interesting point, everyone also know that when I first left my NGO job and started on that, and my family first given the objection. Hari, fixed income coming to uncertain income. Why are you leaving it and coming in here? So that should be managed. So that I am saying that the build up the entrepreneurship need to understand the market, means in the people demand, differently design the product, and convince the family. They should not like to objection on that. Family also like to motivate me. Yes, you can start. We can take some challenge on that. So this is the one side on that. The next point you are very saying on that good thing. That is always when I make it a one enterprise, I like to see that what is the impact will come. No, how I can be know my customer, and which I know the customer demand before customer knows his demand. That is the best way can be developed on that. And accordingly, I design the product and offer it, and customer immediately have been accept it on that. Just like a water given on sand is immediately absorbed. So if you like to understand on that, what is the customer demand is coming in the future, I given that one example. The best Bengal chemical and the best product is a phenyl. When the Harpic has come as a packet of that is in plastic bottle, people are shifted phenyl to Harpic. They are not changed in a plastic packet. Till now they are the tin. So this is a way of that, always observe on that customer where we are coming and how we can be immediately fit with the customer demand. And the third one point on that, which my learning, invest on people. Do not see that it is an cost. It is an investment. I said that whatever my people I have been started on that, when any enterprise will start it, is a low quality people will come. Result is in very much minimum, is a low result based. Because as a new enterprise, very high-fi people will not come. You should be invest the people to develop their skill according to need of the enterprise. And gradually you can also mix some of the better people from the market when your position will come. And then it will be like to make a success, and that will be mixed and give you the best business on that. And another point I say that the investment on the people is a future income will come, which we are people developed in the beginning, that people now in the head of the very different types of department head, If I now recruit any of the people for that department head, his cost is how many times high, I do not know. It's an investment. Now I am getting these opportunities. And any of these enterprise will be started. Keep in mind, always the challenge will come. And that challenge will be accept and face and make it how we can be like to solve this challenge. So when sometimes we feel that if one challenge will come, all will be like to stop this business, start it other business. That is not good. We like to see that the challenge is a part of the life. In the family life, there is a challenge. Society life, there is a challenge. If we take the build up ourselves, how I can be accept the challenges and find out the solution of these challenges, that is the best way to help on that to success on this. If we not ready to accept the challenge, and the Anjanda is very correctly says about it, that the passion, we will be make very much patient on that. And employee point of view and customer point of view, business point of view, always think in a positive, don't worry about it. Give the best positive thinking to the team so that they will not demoralize. And we also not demoralized as a leader. And drive on that, and once upon a time, success will come on that. So these are the some key factors we find out from my life that can be helped on that. Again, coming to my beginning point, the how it can be like to link with the education. Our today's education system is good, no doubt. It should be like to change from certificate education to the practical education. How we can be give the practical, some of things in the link with the business group. What I say that yes, you have now, but that isn't very much certificate based. Came to us, say that, sir, I'm like to do the internship for a 1 month, fine. And after 1 month, when I get the feedback from my team, sir, she and he has not come, and he now came to ask the certificate. You can like to stop this type of entrepreneurship. Is need on that, not in a 1 month. Give a better way, minimum 3 months entrepreneurship, and institution will take the certificate from the institution when they are going to entrepreneurship, their internship. Student cannot be get the certificate. You can take bit feedback from the what he did. Then people will be like to learn by work. And if anyone is doing by work and learn in the education period, I hope that they are sometimes has been entrepreneurship motivation will come inside also. But it is possible. So why not I can be started in this way and that way. So that will be like to need to for different different types of environment where the candidate will be learn from their self, and institution also like to relook in their syllabus, their internship model, which can be helped to these people to become a entrepreneurship. It's a huge market, no doubt. Only need we can like to inspire them. That is my point. Thank you to all of you.
Mr. Chandrasekhar Ghosh, that was excellent, and we all love a lot of chat, WhatsApp and chat box coming, and they're saying, "Well said, Mr. Ghosh," because they all love this your point of practical learning. I think that's what I think Mr. Anjan Chatterjee was saying the same thing. It's all about practical learning, which is very important, and the point about internship is also very relevant. Like in hospitality, internship is a very important part. But similarly, in a lot of other areas, we can do internship as an integral part of the program, which right now is very academic. So that will, and I also liked your take, especially on Bengal thing about the family coming as the first point of hindrance. I think Anjana said the same thing. Uh, if you do business, how much you will earn? That's the first question he got from his house. So I think the family, the seniors, they need to come and support us, support the millennials. They have to support the kids and say, yeah, it's a good thing. I quite like your example of a institution saying job placement instead of career placement. It's not just about job, but about career. So a career placement is much better word than a job placement. People like Anjanda, or for that matter, Ritesh Agarwal of Oyo Room, they have really shown that what hospitality can really bring entrepreneur. I've got one small question before we move on to Mr. Walsh. Is your bank also supporting the small enterprises? I know it's microfinance, I know. So small for the young graduates coming from the catering college or coming from the college, and they want to set up something, if they come and talk with your managers. So is Bandhan Bank also in it to support these youngsters and take a little bit of risk on it?
You are very correct point, because the many times I have been faced this question on that. Actually the funding, the two types of that. One type of funding is coming from the established enterprise, established business. Another kind of funding is a very small is there, that is to encourage the entrepreneurs. It's a depend on that entrepreneur's interest. If someone say that I have need the money, I like to start it, that they will not get the money. They will start their way to the business and show their intention and their doing, then money is not the issue. So that is the point on that. Many point on that, only getting the money as in I have been show the business. No. So that is not the way to get the money to any other bank, even our bank also.
Right.
So if we understand on that it is a startup, fine, but see that is the very good potential, good model, and intention of the promoter is good. No, so then that is not a problem.
Right. So if the intention is genuine and you could see that fire in the eyes of the entrepreneur, you do come and support them, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. So before I move on to Mr. Walsh, who is a very interesting person, because as we all know, he was the part of the British diplomatic service, and he left the service for his love, which is rugby, and now been associated with many things, including education of a lot of youngsters, working with a company like Cult. And so one small housekeeping announcement for all our listeners, both here and in Facebook. Please, when you are asking the question, please write to whom you are asking this, so that we have got some 5-10 minutes after for Mr. Walsh, we can ask the right person. Please please write that this question is for Mr. Chatterjee or Mr. Professor Moitro or Mr. Ghosh. Please write a person. Paul, you had seen the world. You had been in the diplomatic service for so many years, and you have seen it all. So how do you see that Indian students, Indian millennials, Indian graduates, and their propensity and intensity to get into a business and entrepreneurship? And how is it different from the people you have seen in the West or in any other Asian countries that you serve? So if we can have a little bit of a global perspective also from you. Over to you, Paul.
Sure. Okay, thanks. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to be here and join in the discussion. I have a few kind of thoughts and comments, and some of them have been covered by other speakers. So I'll just move along quite sharply. I think the first kind of comment I wanted to make was just to refer back to the first question that Dr. Bose asked, which is where you start people learning about entrepreneurship. And as for what I've seen in my experience, that it has to start really young. It has to start in schools, that young people need to learn about entrepreneurship and understand entrepreneurship. But it's not enough just to teach it as a kind of academic subject. That's absolutely not the way it needs to be done. And I'm going to sort of flatter Dr. Bose a little bit here in that it was more than 10 years ago, I think I came across IIHM, International Institute of Hospitality Management. And I remember sort of 10 years ago and sort of meeting Dr. Bose and going around the college and seeing how the college operated. And really, I mean, this is my experience, that nobody wanted their son or their daughter, you know, they perhaps saw hospitality as a career choice, but that was front desk, that was service, and nobody really thought that nobody saw a good career for their youngster, for their child, being a chef. You know, if you 10 or 15 years ago, if you'd gone to a family and said, oh, you know, and said to a 15, 16-year-old, oh, what would you like to do when you grow up? And they said, oh, I'd like to be a chef. Their parents would have been mortified and locked them in and never let them out until they joined medical school or engineering college. Whereas today, becoming a chef is glamorous, it's associated with celebrity, and it's understood as a career, as an option from a very young age. And a lot of that, I think, has come about because of the various programs that Dr. Bose has run, the rise of the celebrity chef, the idea that that is a career and it is a worthy career and it's a good career choice, that you'll always have work. It leads you into entrepreneurship opportunities. You can become a restaurateur like Anjan. You can become a senior manager. So I think it's if we wait for government to kind of come up with an entrepreneurship curriculum to make it and develop it as an academic subject, we'll be sitting here back in 10 years' time having the same conversation. And the need of the hour around the world is for people to take that responsibility, to start to have that that opportunity, the infrastructure around them, that they can start businesses, that they understand business, that they come out of school, out of college, understanding some of the fundamentals. Obviously, that whole enterprise and what's associated with that, it isn't an easy win. Two of the speakers have talked about how success is not overnight. And I've seen and worked with entrepreneurs and seen their struggle, seen how 10 years, 15 years of hard slog, hard effort goes into what somebody who just meets them thinks is overnight success. So we have to help young people to understand that, give them a direction, a guide, a step-by-step. And every entrepreneur I've met, their journey is slightly different. They've come from industry or they've come from some other area. So everybody's journey is different, but there's some fundamentals that can be taught, that can be shared. And absolutely, as Mr. Ghosh says, as Anjan has said, it has to be practical. A young person like the young chef Olympiad has to be doing these things from a very young age. They have to be practical. They have to be enjoyable. Their parents have to be brought on side. The whole family has to be part of that journey. And that's I've seen that with the various chef competitions. You see that being a chef on television is very exciting. And that takes current entrepreneurs to come together, perhaps under something like the BCC&I, to bring together entrepreneurs who are committed to developing the next stage, the next group of entrepreneurs, next group of young people that can be encouraged, developed, and given that opportunity. So that's just a few thoughts about entrepreneurship, starting early, starting really practically, having competitions, giving young people the chance to explore and think about this, bring families along. So it's everybody's excited about the possibility of an entrepreneurial business journey. Slightly to a sort of slightly negative point is that the coronavirus lockdown has shown me several things. Obviously, it's been tough for a lot of people, more so with the cyclone coming through Bengal, terrible disaster. But one of the things that it's shown me, which is relevant, I think, to this conversation, is that connectivity is nowhere near as far out as we think it is. You know, we think everybody has a mobile phone. We think everybody's able to access online education, online services. And one of the first things I noticed in the first couple of weeks of the lockdown, and this is working with, you know, hundreds of young people across India who are part of the organization that I run, is that connectivity is nowhere near as advanced as we think it is. And this is something that we need to encourage, we need to push, we need to get government on side with, we need to make small initiatives, we need to really have some creative ideas about how we push connectivity far further than it is already. It's easy for us sitting in homes, going on Zoom chats. We think that this is the world. Well, the fact is that my experience tells me that it's not the world for 80% of people, that mobile phones are shared, often they're difficult to get hold of. So it's a real challenge, and it's something that if we're serious about linking education with business, we're serious about making more entrepreneurs, that this push, the reach of online services has to go further. So the need, and so that kind of brings me on to the final point I'd just like to make. And this is, I look at having seen entrepreneurs and been involved with entrepreneurs around the world, is that there needs to be an infrastructure for entrepreneurs. So if I want to become an entrepreneur, there has to be certain systems in place that make that a little bit easier, that make that more accessible as a career choice, as an option. That yes, it's always going to be a struggle. Yes, there are always lots of things and challenges in the way on the journey for any entrepreneur, but we need to think about what infrastructure we put in place, how somebody can set up as an entrepreneur, how they can access capital, how they can have good mentorship. One of the things I'm really passionate about is the idea that mentors come and support young people as they develop their journey. There's nothing better than having someone who has been on an entrepreneurial journey, who has done it, seen it, can tell the story like it is, but can also encourage and guide and ensure that perhaps a few mistakes aren't made. Always we need to make mistakes. The only way we can learn is to make mistakes. But if we have a mentor, if we have good mentorship along with us, then we perhaps won't make some of the more obvious fundamental mistakes. So I think that, you know, that's an area that all of us can support. We can all be part of developing better infrastructure, in being mentors, encouraging and finding out ways to support and nurture entrepreneurs. And that is absolutely, I believe, is the need of the hour. That the world will be a different place. Okay, many of us will still get back on flights. Many things will return to normal, but we absolutely need more people to take that step, to create wealth, to create jobs, and to be the new future, what we all need to make the world a better place. So those are kind of three ideas.
Paul, that was excellent. I mean, you gave a totally different perspective, and what I really picked up from all the relevant points is really connectivity is really our issue, which we need to really work on. The infrastructure, I think, is very important if we need to foster entrepreneurship. And today, when we talk about infrastructure, possibly we talk about data and connectivity more than the bridges and the physical infrastructure. Well, roads and bridges are important definitely for a country's prosperity, but I think as equally important are the data connectivity, as we have seen in the recent storm in Bengal, where the basic infrastructure was so badly exposed. So it's really a big negative for the entrepreneurs, especially the budding entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, to uh, come and foster. I've got a couple of questions for a couple of gentlemen out here from a very erudite crowd out here, but not just here, but we have got around 500 people in the Facebook as well following us. And uh, I've got one question for Professor Shaikat Moitro. Looks like Professor Moitro is the most popular person out here because most of the questions are to him. But these are edited questions by the Bengal Chamber Secretariat, which has been sent to me by the WhatsApp. So yes, so this question is from Sujoy Bishash. Professor Moitro is for you. What are the opportunities for industry academia collaboration for technology-based business? For the technology-based business, what are the opportunities for industry academia collaboration? If you can respond to it, Professor Moitro.
Industry academia collaboration, even
We can't hear you. You have to unmute yourself. Professor Moitro, you are mute. You have to unmute yourself. Yeah, he's there. Yeah. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, Professor Moitro, carry on, please. Professor Moitro, carry on. He's mute, actually. It's fine, but it's... Professor Moitro, we can't hear you. You are mute. You have to unmute yourself.
okay.
Yes, yes. Okay, okay now.
Now, okay. So what I was telling, that industry institute partnership a few years before, it was mostly existing on theoretical domain. But right now, what I am observing, that industry institute partnership has become reality. Many of this industry, they are sharing their experiences by collaborating with academia in offering different types of skill-based programs, even with us also. A series of industries, particularly IT-based industries, they are sharing their experiences, offering collaborative programs. And many professional organizations and industries also, they are sharing, they are becoming a partner in offering joint programs. And this is a reality, particularly from our university perspective, it's a reality now. And this extent of this industry institute partnership based skill development programs or knowledge development programs is increasing more and more in numbers. And in the future also, what we are observing at we have, for example, collaboration with industries, many IT-based industries, and even other organizations offering different types of programs and different types of, they are supporting these internships and projects and many other activities. So it is a reality now, and it will be this more and more in near future. And we have taken an initiative of introducing different types of skill-based training programs with partnerships with different noted organizations. And I am hopeful that out of this, a tangible result will come in, already it has started giving results, and it will be proliferated in near future.
Right. So we have got one more question for you from Sandeep Bhomik. Professor Moitro, can we do something to change the mindset so that the students and parents don't only think about marks and jobs? The point which Mr. Ghosh made actually regarding the family influence.
Basically, easier to say than to follow. Actually, particularly in Bengal, particularly the culture of doing service, doing jobs. This part as a last this 200 years, which ended 19. And risk-taking community. But after to support the administration of Raj, this culture of babus and culture of clerks that was imported here, and out legacy we are still now not coming out. For Bengal, it is more prominent. For rest of the country, still it is there. So it is happening.
Professor Moitra, your bandwidth is pretty low. I know that this cyclone that has done all these issues about the data, but we have heard the answer, and I think most of the other questions I think are more or less similar. So with that, let me also thank all of the panelists up here for an very, very diverse kind of their viewpoint. And
Mr.
obviously, as Mr. Ghosh said, that you need to identify an area, and then you need to work on that area possibly where there is a market which exists, and then deliver before the customer even aware of that gap, demand supply gap. Possibly that reminds me of Steve Jobs of Apple when he created iPhones and iPads, where his famous dialogue was that I will do something that the customers don't know because I know better than the customers. So with that, I think it's been an absolute joy to have all of you with us.
Mr.
On
Ghosh.
behalf of the Bengal Chamber. Yes, Mr. Ghosh, you want to say something?
Yes, I am saying that we have another bad name. We are Bhadralok.
Yes.
We
Yes.
should like to remove this. The businessman should not be a Bhadralok.
Yes. 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 We need to have a little thick skin, right?
Appropriate approach in the time of needed.
Absolutely agree
Yes,
with you.
I agree.
Absolutely agree with you. You need to be tough also. Yep, because as they said, tough times don't last, but tough people do. So we need to be tough at especially in challenging times like this. With that, we are already overshoot our time. But then thank you so much, Mr. Chatterjee, Mr. Ghosh, Paul Walsh, and Professor Moitro, who has been a brainchild for this particular session. Thank you very much for bringing all of your viewpoints, and thank Bengal Chamber for bringing this an excellent webinar. Looking forward for more of this in the days to come, and wish everybody a very, very safe health and take care. And I'm sure that we will overcome. And see you soon. Thanks very much, everybody, especially my tech team up here in the Bengal Chamber and IIHM, who really worked hard to make this possible. Thank you, everybody, and namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaskar.
Thank you.